Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. If you are here, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. A blue heart is always preferable. That lets me know you're here, especially if you don't know what else to say. We're going to be looking at a young lady talk about her horrifying date with a young man who basically was just too sensitive, or if she was giving off red flags right away. But in reality, I think both of them could learn from this as far as how to treat other people, especially when you're trying to get to know somebody. So let's go ahead and watch her side of what happened on this quote-unquote worst date ever.
You won't believe this. I just got stood up on a date because I was getting what I normally get on the menu. So this happened like July of 2022 because I had just basically got back to the Chicago area after a breakup. I moved from the St. Louis area. And so I turned on Facebook dating. But this one that we're going to talk about, we started chatting or whatever, and we chatted a little bit in the Facebook dating chat, and then we exchanged numbers. Things that I overlooked because of the situation I was in at the time, right? I just moved back in town, so I had moved in with my parents, and I wasn't working. I had enough money saved up for me to go like the rest of the 6 months before I had to go ahead and look for a job, right? I don't know what his situation was, but he didn't work. The only work that he did do was drive Uber, so he picked and chose when he went out to drive. And another thing that he had said, which it went over my head. I really didn't understand what that meant. But he was like, he got his apartment through a program. And so now that I think about it, I'm like, is that program like halfway healed? Is it because you were in a shelter or whatever the case is? But I can't be one to judge. I just moved back in with my parents. So
Okay, so we got two people that are not in a good financial position trying to date. You should be at your best, meaning no baggage. You should have worked through all your emotional stuff so that you don't put the new person through all the drama that the old person put you through. There's a start. And then also be in a good financial place. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, you don't need to be on Facebook dating looking for somebody to talk to if you don't have any money. Because let's just be honest, it takes money to hang out and get to know people. Like if you're trying to go out or go out to restaurants, go out and enjoy movies or this or that, you got to look nice on dates, so you got to have the right clothing, the right perfume, the right jewelry. And I'm not saying that you got to go out and be, Gucci from head to toe or anything, but it's like one of those things where you want to look nice. You can go Dutch even, which I personally think that the first at least 3 dates should be Dutch, because you're getting to know each other. That way, if this doesn't work out, if we end up not vibing like that, you don't feel like you wasted anything, and I don't feel obligated like I got to do anything because you spent a few dollars on me. I do believe that people should go Dutch the first couple dates. That's just my opinion.
Just still talking to him. He seems like a cool person. Like, it was literally not that deep as far as trying to search for a serious relationship or anything. And so then when we were on the phone call, he's like, okay, I want to go out with you. I want to talk to you, see you in person, and any other, because at that point we had only FaceTimed. Mind you, I took into account that men are weirdos and men are entitled. And so I chose low pressure dates. So I suggested, let's go to Starbucks and just have a coffee. He says no. He's not thinking coffee because he doesn't like coffee. Well, let's go get ice cream. There's like an ice cream shop at XYZ that's not too far from where we live. He declines ice cream too. Type of restaurants like a Applebee's or like Applebee's, literally a Applebee's. It might as well be a Applebee's. It's just in the area that we are, which is like Chicago area. So he declined the 2 low pressure dates that I suggested. And I'm like, okay, well, we can go there. Let me look at their menu. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I guess it's between a burger or the little 6-ounce steak or whatever, this and that. And so I should have known then on that phone call, the way he kind of got like,
a steak.
Why are you looking at the steaks? And I'm like, well, if we got to, we can go Dutch. Like, it's no big deal. I don't care. Like, I thought we were just going to have a conversation. Whether you decide to get the sandwich and the soup, you're spending $15. The steak on the menu was probably like $15.
That's interesting. She suggests low pressure dates. Dates like ice cream, dates like Starbucks, which I think is very non-modern woman, and he should have thought that that was like a nice girl in that moment, because she's not trying to spend all your money, first of all. And then she said, okay, well, we can even go Dutch. And instead of just accepting that, it sounded like he wanted to be chivalrous and still pay for everything. But then he got irritated that she was looking at steaks. I will say a steak is a far cry from ice cream or coffee. So we went from possibly having ice cream and coffee to jumping right to steaks. it sounds like it wasn't too expensive. She just showed a receipt that said something like $15.79. And you're right. If you're going to Applebee's, you're going to spend around 15, 20 bucks a person anyway. And I'm not bougie or anything, but $20 for a meal is not a lot of money. I mean, if you're going to a restaurant, you should expect to spend anywhere from 50, like when I go out with my husband, we can spend anywhere from like $50 to $100 depending on the restaurant, depending on if we're having drinks or not, depending if the kids are with us. So it's like, I don't expect to spend less than that. But when it comes to a first date, me personally, I'd have been like 100% Dutch. I'm a grown 35-year-old woman though, so my mindset is different. I'm coming at the table not broke. I'm coming at the table with money and savings and everything. So it's like paying for my own meal would never be a problem. Again, it sounds like we're dealing with young people living at home, living in apartments, driving Ubers and stuff like that. So maybe that is a lot of money to them. I don't know. But $20 total for one person's meal is not a lot of money. And if you can't afford that, then you don't need to be dating, sir or ma'am.
But that's beside the point right now. Fast forward to the day of the date where we're supposed to meet at Miller's. He sends me a text like, I better be seeing you later. I know where we're going, but I'm just like, oh, where we're going. And then he says, McDonald's, the way you're acting. That was the second thing he had said where I should have just like said, nope, or just don't show up.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he said that is extremely rude. We went from the so-called Miller's bar, which is the equivalent to Applebee's, to now you're saying McDonald's because of how I'm acting, like just because she said, well, where are we going? She probably just wanted him to reaffirm that they were going somewhere and what place, just to make sure. So far, she doesn't sound like a bad person. But again, I'm also the kind of person that doesn't believe that you should be dating if you're broke. So she's without a job. She just moved back home with her parents, got out of a bad relationship, it sounds like. And with him, he's driving Uber, living in an apartment. Maybe dating is not for you guys right now. I feel like more established people should date. Like, if you don't have money like that, then don't offer to take somebody out. I mean, how many times have we seen this? Like, these people will be on these dates and their card declines, or, something like change of plans because they don't have enough money to do this or whatever. Stop taking people out and offering to take people out if you don't have the money. I'm kind of on her side so far, I guess you can say, because, she was willing to go Dutch. She was willing to have like a mediocre, meeting, first date, like, because a first date doesn't need to be a 5-star restaurant. It just doesn't, because 5-star restaurants are for like anniversaries. They're for special events. They're for, hey, this is Valentine's Day. You're my lover. I want to take you somewhere special type of deal. And for a first date, I mean, Starbucks is probably okay, or just a simple chain restaurant, because you don't want to come out of pocket a lot of money, even for yourself. Even if you guys do go Dutch, you don't want to waste $100 and then you don't even really like the person. Granted, you had a good meal, but it still does seem like a waste of time at the end of the day. And yes, I have a creeper in the background. Mind your business, ma'am. These little ones don't want to go to bed.
He walks in to the Millers and we greet each other. We speak. He's like, oh, you're pretty. Da, 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 da. Okay, you look nice. And so we get seated. So once we get seated and the menus are brought out, we're sitting there going over the menu again. And I'm like, well, I already looked at the menu. I kind of really know what I want already. I think I'm going to go with the 6-ounce steak. And so he makes a sly comment about me getting the steak again. And I'm like, well, if it's a problem, we can go Dutch. So this man is like catching an attitude. So he gets up and he walks out.
All right, so I'm going to stop it really quick because I don't feel like she told us everything that was said. It just doesn't seem like enough exchange happened for him to get up and leave. So she certainly left something out. I don't know what it is yet, but she left something out.
He leaves the date. He goes wherever he goes. He left me at the table before the waiter even brought out the water. He's sitting there looking puzzled, but I'm also fat, so I'm not going to leave. I'm going to order my food. I even took a picture of the receipt because I was so like, what the hell? Bro, my total was $21.96 when I suggested a low pressure date.
This is a low pressure date. $21.96. That's not a lot of money. I'm sorry. Like, gosh, like people be really out here thinking that $20 is a lot of money. Like, my goodness. And again, like, I'm no rich person or anything, but I mean, I don't know. Do y'all like live somewhere where inflation hasn't taken place? Because I'm pretty sure I've spent that on like my kids' meals. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. That just, don't date if you're broke. Like, just don't do it. Wait until you have your stuff together, because you do not want to come off like $21.96 is a lot of money.
I suggested coffee. I suggested ice cream, and he declined both of those, chose this restaurant, and then got mad at what I chose off the menu of the restaurant he selected for us to come to. He starts blowing my phone up as I'm sitting there having dinner with myself, the dinner he walked out on. So he texts me, I have the text right here. You ordering a steak and asking if I'm getting a burger is everything I need to know.
So we're just now hearing this part. So apparently, before he got up and left, you didn't just say, hey, I'm getting a steak. And you said, oh, well, if I get a steak, then you can just get a burger. And yeah, that is rude, because if he's willing to pay for it, you just met him. He's not your boyfriend. He doesn't owe you a better meal than what he's having. And as a woman, you should want to eat less than your man, ultimately. I mean, first dates, first impressions are kind of everything. Like whenever I make food, for instance, when I make me and my husband's plate, I tend to give him more food or larger portions of meat, things of that nature, because I mean, he's the man, you know what I mean? And I'm the female. I should eat less than him. You're kind of selfish. You're trying to spend up my money, and you want me to eat less than you or eat at a lesser value than you. It sounds like to me, he probably is just a guy that's struggling, you know, financially. But it's like one of those things where you shouldn't have invited her out to a place that you couldn't really afford like that. I rarely order steak when I go out. Most dishes that I get might be like salmon or some type of grilled chicken, or some type of pasta. More than likely, I'm going to choose something that's mid-range on the menu, especially if someone else offers to pay. I'm not going to be like, give me the T-bone. It just comes off a little audacious. But in her case, the meal wasn't that expensive. Maybe the burger item was $9 or $10, and then hers is like $15, and he's looking at it like, okay, so you're eating better than me. Somebody's offering to pay for something, you should be gracious in how you order. If you knew this person was in like a bad financial spot, just kind of like how you were, you know, being jobless and living at home with your parents, you should have been a little bit more considerate in that sense. I just personally think that people who are broke should just stay away from dating. You just should. You shouldn't be going out on dates with the possibility of your card declining. Like that, not only is that extremely embarrassing for everyone involved, the secondhand embarrassment, I'm sure, from any clerk or waitress would be enough to just pass out from. Like, I kid you not. This is what I would have probably did. I would have seen what he got, and then I would have tried to get something that was cheaper. Point blank period. Like, I would have looked at what he got, and I would have tried to get something that was cheaper. Don't suggest he gets something cheaper than what you want, unless he says, hey, get whatever you want, go all out. That would be the only way. But if he's already saying, you know, why do you have to get a steak and stuff like that, like, obviously he was hurting. And if you really like this person, if you cared anything about them, you should have been more considerate of that. And you still wanted to go out with this guy, you can't be ready to spend all his money. You don't even know him. Oh.
And I said, before we came, I said we could go Dutch. I don't care. You play all day, and now it's a problem when I'm keeping the same energy. We've been talking shit to each other since we met. Now it's a problem. And so he proceeds to blow up my phone, and I'm not answering because I ordered my food. I am enjoying my alone time because ain't nobody gonna embarrass me. I don't care. I'm gonna have my meal and go on about my business. He's like, now let me would have asked you to come over to fuck if I pay for a steak. I would be wrong. Don't get mad now.
They both sound like some extremely immature young folks here. You don't... Wow. What level of finance are you at to where a $15 steak would equate to you getting some? Like, what? This is insane. Sounds bad from both ends. They both seem like they could use some major social skills and improvement. This is just pathetic, really.
What? Then the next day, after the date at 11 in the morning, he gets to texting me again. Why are you still texting me? I didn't respond. And then so he texts me saying, let it go. We both was wrong.
Now that I can agree with. You both were wrong. He was wrong for not just accepting the cheap date in the beginning, considering that he thought that was expensive. And you were wrong for, I guess, ordering the most expensive thing that you could see on the menu considering his financial situation. And then he was wrong yet again when he got so ballsy and bodacious to say that if I had asked you to come over an F for a $15 steak, I don't know where you met him, but you dodged a bullet, girl, and I guess he kind of did too. Y'all both sound broke and just sad. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
How was I wrong? I'm literally not responding. And so it was to the point, like, I'm telling the story now, but I was getting really weirded out. And so I didn't block his number because I just wanted to know his next steps because, okay, at this point, it was getting weird. And so then the next message comes up. Well, I hope you find somebody who gonna feed you steak and lobster. I would think somebody in your position would be a little more humble. You shouldn't even be thinking about a steak when you don't have a job or a crib. Get it together. Single black baby mama.
Ooh, and then there's the icing on the cake. We didn't even know that she was single black baby mama either. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you got to be a little more conscious about your first date etiquette. Let me just give you guys a few rules for first date. First date should probably more than likely be Dutch. Second, don't go to a 5-star restaurant unless you're just big ballin' like that. Go to a chain restaurant, something that everybody knows. Everybody can find something on the menu that they like. Everything can be pronounced by most people. You know, don't go all out and don't go crazy. This should actually be the first rule. Don't try to date if you don't have any money. If you don't even have enough money to pay for yourself at a chain restaurant, you daggone well bet your lucky charms you don't need to be dating. If you don't have your own residence, meaning the apartment that you rent or the place that you pull up to every day, if it ain't in your name, you don't need to be dating right now. What you gonna do? Get a short stay? Get a hotel room? Car dates? Pulling up, smoking, and drinking in the car? Those are not dates. Don't even suggest stuff like that. That is so juvenile, it's not even funny. I just wish there was help for this world, like, you know, because it seems like between the entitlement of modern women and then the whole men not wanting to be taken advantage of thing, but then at the same time wanting to date and you're broke, just don't do it. You guys tell me what you think. Leave me a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave that blue heart. And I will see you all next time.